What do you hear? What do you say? This is VERTiiGO, and this is not Rust. I know it's not Rust. Chill out. Don't go anywhere. Unfortunately, I was trying to record Rust today, and the game just didn't want to let me play it. I was getting the EAC disconnected error thing. I tried everything. I went through like an hour's worth of just stuff to try and fix it, and I just could not get on any server. So I thought there was either two options. One, I could upload this, or give you nothing at all. And I didn't want to give you nothing at all, so I found some footage here of me playing some Battlefield. And I thought, I'll let that play, so you can enjoy that. It's not a bad gameplay. I suppose I do alright, but I'm going to tell you a story. Now, I don't really tell stories. I know this is like a very popular thing on YouTube. People put in gameplays with commentary over the top that's recorded later, and they tell you a story or whatever. I've done it a couple times, but it's not usually something I particularly like to do. But again, I was kind of in a rush. I didn't really have much options, and this is pretty much all I could think of. I did plan on doing this in the not so distant future, but I'm pushing it ahead now because I can't record what I want to record. But that out of the way, if you're still here, thank you so much. Welcome to the video. We are doing Battlefield 1. I am enjoying this game immensely. I'm having a good time. It's quite intense, as I've stated before, and it's a really top quality game. I'm still undecided about where it sits in my favorite Battlefield games, but it's definitely right up there with my favorite games as of today. But anyway, the story. I want to tell you a story because it is Halloween time. So I thought, what can I tell you guys? What can I tell you about my life that you haven't heard before, and it would be in the theme of like a Halloween theme. So I want to tell you about a part of my life which was quite scary for me at the time, which was kind of creepy now that I think back at it, but at the time it was really scary, and even now I get chills even thinking about it. And I know you're probably going to think I'm full of shit, but I can tell you 100% guaranteed this is all true. And if you got similar stories, please share them down below. I'd love to hear them. Now, for me to get into this story, I have to explain to you first. I've got to start from when my father was a child. When my family has lived in the same town pretty much our entire life. Since my grandfather came over here from Italy, he lived in this town. He lived here with him and his wife and his kids. My father, when my father grew up, he bought a house just next door to my grandparents, first of all. Then he moved across the road from them. So we've always lived in this area, and I still live here today. I still live in the same town, even though it's a different house. But when my father was a child, there was a neighbor, and the neighbor had a wife. I don't know if they had any kids or not. I don't know that much about them, but I do know that they founded the town. So the town here is not that old. So they built the first few houses in this area, and the house that they lived in was the first original house of the town. And it was it was an old house when I grew up, but at the time it was brand new, obviously. But anyway, they lived in that house, and they were an old couple, and my dad used to visit them all the time. And from all accounts, I don't know, as I said, I don't know that much about them, but my dad said that they were nice people. And I believe the man, the husband, eventually died. He had Alzheimer's, so he sort of, he got really bad. He sort of deteriorated quite greatly, and then he passed away. Then I don't think his wife was that far behind him. She also passed away. So the house was owned by them. They both died in the house. And, so just, a house, an old house, two old people dying in there. It's already setting up beautifully. But anyway, eventually, not luck may have it, but coincidence may have it, that eventually we moved into the house. My dad purchased the property years later. I think it got owned by a few more people after they died. But eventually my dad bought the house. And so we moved in. It was an old fibro house. It wasn't made of wood or anything. It was very You know, it wasn't the best house. It was quite small. The rooms were very small. The kitchen was small. Everything was small. It was a very small house. I suppose when there was only two of them living there, it was big enough for them. But, you know, for a family of three, no, there was four of us. There was four of us. So for a family of four, it was quite small. But I got really good memories of that house because that's when I first got a Sega Genesis. That's where I first played games, and my childhood. Had my first birthday party in that house. You know, everything was pretty good there. But there was this thing that was not so good about it. It's hard for me to explain exactly this whole story because it's, you know, it's been so long now. It feels like a distant memory. But so we had the house, and I remember one night I was laying in bed, and I was in the same bedroom as my little brother, Aaron, who's a year younger than me, and we had a bunk bed. I was on the top bunk, he was on the bottom bunk. And I remember waking up during the night and looking over at my doorway. I don't know why, what made me look at the doorway, but I looked at the doorway. And as I looked over the doorway, I saw someone walk past. Now, I thought it was my mum at the time, but it kind of startled me because, you know, seeing someone just walk past the door in pitch black isn't the best sight to behold. It was quite creepy, and, you know, it freaked me out. I was only a little kid at the time, so it naturally scared me. But I didn't think all that much about it, so I sort of just went back to sleep. A little while later, a few more nights went by, and this is when it really got bad. But I woke up during the night, and again, I looked over at my doorway, and there was someone standing in the door frame. Just standing there. I couldn't make out any face or detail. I could see that they were wearing a shirt. I don't remember their legs, but I remember there was an outline of the legs, and you couldn't see the face. The face was just shadow. And the person was just standing in the doorway. And that absolutely scared the hell out of me. And I remember just hiding under the blankets, counting to 10, taking the blankets off, and the person was gone. Again, this is all real. This really happened. I'm not bullshitting you. It got worse than this. This gradually kept on happening. Every few nights, I'd see someone walk past the door, or stand in the room, or whatever. It was extremely terrifying as a child, and it traumatized me to the point where I asked my next door neighbor to leave his porch light on because his porch light used to shine through my window into the bedroom and light my bedroom up a bit. So they used to keep the porch light on for me at the time. And my mum and dad thought I was full of shit. The amount of times I ran to my dad's room saying, "There's a ghost in my room, there's a ghost in my room." I'm sure they thought I was crazy. And my dad, he did think I was full of shit. He thought that I was just seeing things, whatever. But as the years have gone by, I've told him the story, and he now believes me. But anyway, continuing, this all came to a head. It got worse and worse to the point where they actually started moving towards the bed. And every time I just hide under the blankets or put, you know, my face in my pillow and just count to 10, and they disappear. But one particular night, I had changed bedrooms. I left my brother's room and moved into my own room by myself, into my own bed. And I was laying in bed, and Aaron came to my room, and he wanted to sleep in my bed with me. So I let him. He was scared to sleep by himself. That's cool. Whatever. We're little brothers. That's what brothers do. So he's in the bed with me, and we're both laying there. And I wake up once again, and there was a man. There was a man, a shadow man, I'm going to call him, because he was just a shadow. I could see the outline of his body. It looked like he was standing there, but you couldn't see anything. He just looked black, like just black head to toe, no facial features, nothing. And he was just standing over my bed, looking over me. He was about a foot away from me, shaking his head. Just shaking his head. Probably thinking what a disappointment I'm going to turn out to be. But he was shaking his head, just looking down upon me. And it scared me, but I was so used to seeing him now that even though I was scared, my first thing I wanted to do was make sure I'm not seeing things, because I wanted confirmation that I wasn't fucking seeing things. I mean, I don't want to think I'm crazy. So I poked at my brother Aaron, and I'm like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And anyway, he woke up, and I tell him, look over there. And I'm hiding under the blankets all the while, and he just started screaming. He saw it too. He started freaking the hell out. And him till this day, he remembers it, because we've spoken about it a few times. In fact, one day at school, he told people the story, and they came up to me and asked me, is it really true? And then I just said, nah, he's crazy. It was quite mean of me, but he remembers it till this day. And that was the worst instance, because it was right over my bed. And I remember reaching over to my lamp, which was beside my bed, and turning it on. Then I came away from the covers, and there was no one there. And I ran straight to my dad's room, and I told him what was in my room. He came over to have a look. There was nothing there, obviously. He told me to go back to bed. I refused, so I ended up sleeping in my dad's room that night. But anyway, what ended up happening was, eventually, I just had enough. I just had enough of being scared. I had enough of being terrified. So I, one night, just decided to pray. And I just sat there and I said, you know what? Hey, God. I didn't say it like that. I've done the whole thing, you know. I'm not a super religious person. I don't go to church or anything. But it was the only thing my child brain could come up with. And I said, I know that these ghosts don't want to hurt me, but they scare me. Can you please tell them to stop and tell them to leave me alone? And I swear to God, everybody, my hand on my heart, after that night, I never saw them ever again. I don't know if God told them to piss off, or they heard me and they decided to go away, but they stopped coming to see me. And I'm convinced that the people I would see in the house, I see a man and a woman, the outlines of a man and a woman. I am convinced to this day that those are the old couple that founded the town and used to live in the house and died in the house. I'm convinced that was them. But yeah, it's just a little story, guys, that I thought I'd share with you. I believe in ghosts. I know a lot of people think it's all bullshit, but I know firsthand what I've seen, and it scared the absolute piss out of me. And even now, even to this day, I'm 27 years old, and I swear if I saw one of those ghosts in my hallway or something, I'd probably be more scared now than I was back then. Because just think about it. Just think about laying in your bed and opening your eyes to see someone standing over you. It's horrifying. But yeah, this is just my little story. I'm curious to know if anyone else has experienced anything like this. If you have, let me know down below. I love you guys. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you did, thank you. I appreciate everybody for, sticking by and watching videos all the way through. You guys are great. This has been VERTiiGO. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to record Rust and get a video out tomorrow-ish. Hopefully tomorrow. I don't know. I'm going to try and get Rust done because I really wanted to record Rust today. As I said, wasn't working for me, so I couldn't do it. And it was either this or it was nothing, and I didn't want to give you nothing. So, yeah. Tell me a ghost story, guys, or whatever else you want to tell me. I'm very curious. Happy Halloween month, I suppose. Again, this has been VERTiiGO. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.